Have you ever wanted to build an outdoor CrossFit gym and playground combo? Yeah, me too. You see, we bought this home 2 years ago, and I've been DIYing several home projects with the goal of turning my home into a place that we never want to leave. I mean, that's the dream anyway. And after a ton of research, it turns out I'm not alone with this mindset. New home buyers are now prioritizing outdoor spaces over bedrooms, bathrooms, and kitchens. Wow, that's crazy, right? Oh yeah, and here's the space we're gonna build it in. Let's get started. Oh, and you see this mini loader? I rented this machine from a local yard, and it was really great, but I have to say, I thought it would make things easier, but it didn't. This thing was like riding a bull trying to buck me the entire time. I was exhausted from using it. This project started off smoothly, and then weather kicked in. Rain started to flood us out, and we lost nearly a month. But once it started to clear out a little bit, I was able to move on with the process. I went ahead to start staining the fence because the ground was still too wet to be worked on. And getting back to the new buyers prioritizing outdoor spaces, I have a theory. Well, it's just an idea. You see, I think since the pandemic, families have craved fresh air, open skies, and basically want to shift from being cooped up indoors to enjoying the outdoor lifestyle and all the elements that come with it. So creating these outdoor spaces is not only increasing my home net worth, it's also building my dreams. You know, the one where I can have my family memories built every day and not having to spend a ton of money on a vacation for 1 week a year. But don't get me wrong, vacations are great. I would just rather invest my money into my home and my family. And leveling this rock, this was not easy. This was a process. And here it is. It's crushed limestone. It compacts like concrete, but it drains like gravel. So it makes it as an excellent source to use under artificial turf. Now, my original plan was to install the CrossFit gym and playground combo over rubber mulch. That would have been a heck of a lot easier. But you know me. I believe in the details and the embellishments. So this was a humbling experience, and it really pushed my DIY skill set. And the turf is not perfect, but who's judging me, right? I'm digging it, and my family digs it, and that's all that matters. Oh, and you see these gym components that I'm installing? They have a thermoplastic coating, which is a fancy way of saying it won't rust, and it inhibits UV rays, making it last a very long time. And the best part, the steel won't get hot in the summer and it won't get too cold in the winter. I mean, what's better than that? When I was going over the plan to my wife, telling her that I wanted to build an outdoor playground and a gym all in one, she started doing some research of her own, and she found this company called Swingsesh. They make this CrossFit gym and this outdoor playground, which is truly amazing. And the assembly process could be done with 2 people in a few short hours. But for me, I had a lot of setbacks. For example, we had a house fire in our garage, which was horrible, and it set me back probably another couple of weeks. Although the fire was pretty traumatizing, in the end, it's okay because nobody got hurt, nobody died, thankfully, and at the end of the day, it's just materialistic items in my garage that burned up. We were able to fix them, replace them, and just move on. Now I want to get back to the Swingsesh because they made this process simple by pre-drilling all the holes, giving you instructions and the hardware. But I was feeling a little bit down from the fire, but I wanted to stay focused and I kept charging forward. But life had another plan for me. Boom. Our HVAC unit went out on our house and we no longer had air conditioning. So my son was telling me about it and I was feeling pretty defeated. He was telling me about how hot and sweaty he was all night. What a bummer. But again, the next day I woke up, I had more energy, and I just went at it. One lesson in life that I've really learned about myself is I'm extremely resilient. I hardly let anything beat me down. I always come back, and I always keep going. I believe in momentum and charging forward, and if I can keep that going, I can do anything. At least that's what I tell myself anyway. And it really helped me in this process to stay focused and get back to it. Installing these components was actually kind of fun, and actually oddly satisfying. Or it may be just my son hanging out with me the entire time. I love this bonding experience where he sees me with these DIY projects, and I'm hoping he can take that into his life with him forever. Oh, and you see this platform I'm installing? This actually has a dual purpose. It's meant for the landing coming down from the staircase, but more importantly, for box jumps for CrossFit. You know, functional training. Jump up to be tall, jump down to be small. It's all about building that cardio and strength at the same time. I'm not a fan of ladder work, but when I was able to get up here on the top and install these safety rails, it made it a lot easier. I put in the slide, lined it up, and then it was time to install the swing set. You know, this thing is called Swingsesh, right? So while I'm doing rope climbs, gymnastic rings, bench press, my son will be swinging with his friends on this playground all day. How cool is that? The cool thing about this company is I reached out and talked to the owners on the phone. It's a husband and wife team, super nice people, and they have this amazing business. And I asked them if they would offer a discount to my followers, and they said yes. So in my description box below, I'll have a link to that. But as you would have it, the weather came in once again. This time, pretty bad. Everything started to flood. The water was pouring down like a fire hydrant. And before I knew it, my yard, my street, everything was flooded. I lost probably another month again. But you know how it is. When everything was done, I went out there and got busy. This part of the process was the only part I was scared of. I didn't know how I was going to accomplish it. This is the rope climbing station. I reached out to the owner to ask how many people would it take to lift this, because it was actually pretty heavy. And he recommended that I get 4 people. But I thought, you know what? I can do it in 3. Ouch. We almost didn't pull that off. But I got a couple more friends over, and we were able to get it done. We stood it up while I bolted it down. We kept this thing moving. Kind of like a boss. Look at this. This is going to be key to grip strength and core strength. How fun. This thing is really turning into be more like an obstacle course than a playground, but I'm digging it. I moved on to some pull-up bars and started fastening them. And once that was complete, I moved on to some of the attachments, like this J-cup, and it holds a lot. Look at that. This thing goes in these holes and then locks in place. It's amazing. And these are all safety bars that will help me with squats and bench press. And then I moved on to this, the wall ball station. How cool, right? I did mention it's a CrossFit gym. Here we go. Let's get that cardio pumping. And you see this part? I'm actually spray painting down an area that I'm going to use for sled pulls and battle ropes. I think it'll be really cool. You're probably asking yourself, what kind of paint am I using? This is artificial turf paint. It's basically an acrylic paint mixed in with a plastic primer, so it holds in place. And I made this template on a laser engraver, so that way I could get this thing dialed in. I started spraying it, and I thought it was going to go smoothly. But the problem was the wind kicked in and I was getting a lot of overspray. Now the good news is I was able to get most of that off, but it was coming out great. I'm digging it. I made some with the numbers and I've got 7 yards to work with. I think that's pretty good. While we wait for the paint to dry, we're going to move on to the other embellishments. After all, I'm going to need a place to have some weights. I brought these bumper plates in and I brought in the hardware as well. I started to install it and fasten it to my fence, and I was a little worried. Is it going to be heavy? Is it going to be too top heavy? But then I remembered, hey, I'm the guy who DIY'd the fence. And I made these holes almost 4 feet deep and nearly 13 inches wide packed full of concrete. These posts are going nowhere. I doubt a hurricane would knock them over. Just kidding. But it will last for the weights. Now we're doing that landmine attachment. And the cool part about this is I didn't have to find something that would fit these bars or anything like that because Swingsesh offers all of these attachments on their site. So I was able to do a one-stop shop pretty much. It'll be for deadlifts, shoulder presses, you name it. I brought in a squat bar and even a bench. It was time to turn this thing into a gym. I'm so excited right about now I couldn't take it. But the paint was really getting to dry and I was able to walk on it and do the rest of the embellishments. I brought in some wall balls, or I should say slam balls. And then the DIY in me kicked back in and I started to make some signs, for motivation. I would also like to add, when it comes to this Swingsesh playground, you don't have to get this entire set just like I've got it. You see, it's modular. You can do different components at different stages and build as you go, or even do a lot more than what I did here today. In this area with the pine straw, I actually had plans to do something else back here, but I think I'm going to save it for another video. But I was dying to try my very first sled pull. This thing is awesome. It's got 0 turn capability, so I can go down 7 yards, turn around, and go back the other way. This is going to be great. And the battle ropes? Whew, nothing burns more than that. And just like that, I was complete. What do you think of my outdoor CrossFit / playground? This thing is amazing. I've been training since I was 12 years old, and I just checked off another box on my bucket list. Having an outdoor gym which meets a playground. What do you think?